Hey everyone, how are you? Hope you're doing well. So do me a favor before we get started. I need you to hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, I need you to do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and notification bell next to it so that you will not miss an episode. Also check me out on IG elevation_mentor. How are you today? So we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve's cut and how you can use that to benefit yourself. All right. So, as you know, the Federal Reserve, they did a cut. It was a half a percentage point. And we're going to briefly talk about what that means for you in a variety of different areas. We're going to talk about credit cards, car loans, home loans. All right. So, I'm going to do it very quickly. We're going to go through it very quickly. So, this cut happened Wednesday, and they are expecting more cuts to come within the next year, within the next 2 years. They are expecting more cuts. So, as far as your credit cards go, so this will lower the rate on your credit cards. However, since it is a half a percentage point, you may not really see that much of a difference, but it could be worse, right? So we're moving in a good direction, all right? So in the year 2022, credit card interest rates were at 16.3%, and now they are at 21%. So the rates are high, as you know, on credit cards. So this cut will help the credit cards a little bit. All right. So maybe noticeable, may not be that noticeable. So, what are some things you can do in terms of credit cards? Well, you can focus on your credit cards and pay your credit cards off. Were you aware that you're supposed to be paying your credit card off every month, like as a habit, instead of just letting the balance stay on there month after month after month? So every month you're supposed to be paying your credit card off, or at least down to low, because when they look at your credit score, they're tying that to your credit card debt and are you paying it or not? So a credit card has a direct relationship to your credit score. Were you aware of that? So we talked about credit score before, but in terms of credit score, calling the credit card company and asking them when is the closing date. So the closing date is when they take a picture and they send it to these credit score companies, right? So making sure that you pay a couple of days before the closing date, that's going to increase your credit score. Were you aware of that? That the credit card is directly related to the credit score. So back to this Federal Reserve cut. One thing that you could do if you were interested is you could transfer your balance to a credit card from a credit union. So having a credit card from the credit union and transferring your balance to that type of card. So that is one thing that you could do if you're interested, and that is transferring your balance to a card that has a lower rate. All right, in terms of car loans, so you may see a small difference in terms of the car loan. So every quarter percentage point will knock off $4 a month. So that's what's happening now. So the cut was a half a percentage point, right? So a half a percentage point is going to knock off $4 a month in terms of your car loan. All right. So you may notice that, you may not notice it. So Speaking of car loans, one thing that I saw was interesting is that generally for new cars, the interest rate is 7.1% on average that they charge. For used cars, they charge an average of 11.3%. So we think that it's cheaper to buy a used car, but in actuality, they're charging a higher interest rate for the used car. Don't you think that's interesting? So for a new car, 7.1%, for a used car, 11.3%. So if you're in the market to buy a car, ask what that rate is. All right. I thought that was interesting. All right. And then over to the homes. Homes. So the current rate for homes is 6.2% for a 30-year mortgage. And this is down from the previous 2 months. So with this Federal Reserve cut, you can expect to see a modest drop. A modest drop. So nothing too drastic, but a modest drop. All right. So there is such a thing that you could do if you're interested. If you're interested, and that is to buy down your rate. To buy down your rate. So that's the option that some people decide to take. And what you would do is a quarter of a point. A quarter of a point. Right? If you knock it down a quarter of a point. Say, for example, you go in with a current rate of 6.2%. And you're interested in knocking that 6.2% down to a quarter of a point. So how much would it cost to do that, to buy down the rate? It will cost 1% of the loan. Say, for example, you're going into this 6.2%, which is it's currently a 6.2% rate, and you would like to knock it down a full point. You would like to knock it down from 6.2% to 5.2%. How much would that cost? That would cost 4% of the loan. So some people are doing that. They are buying down the rate. So that is an option. Um, just something to think about. Some people buy down their rates. All right. So high yield savings accounts. How will that be affected? So for people that have high yield savings accounts, they are still seeing a 4.25% to a 5.3% on Wednesday. So they are still ahead of the game as opposed to the bank, which is offering 0.1%. So say for example, you had $1,000 in a high yield savings account. So take 5% of that and you would profit $50 as opposed to this $1,000 that you have in a bank that's offering 0.1%. That would profit $1. Right? So if you do not have a high yield savings account, that's something to consider. Something to put on your to-do list is getting a high yield savings account where you would be making 5% on your money as opposed to 0.1% of your money. So, not putting all your money in there, of course, but some of your money so that you're making 5% on your money as opposed to the bank where it would be 0.1%. All right. So that's the latest news. The Federal Reserve, they did a 0.5% cut, and they are expecting to do more in the coming year, the coming 2 years. So you may not see that much of a difference, but it is a move in the right direction in terms of credit cards. If you have credit card debt, in terms of car loans if you are looking to buy a car, and in terms of home loans if you are looking to buy a home. And then again, for the high yield savings accounts, they are still making the 4.25% up to 5.3% on their money as of Wednesday. All right. So if there's anything that you would like to add, feel free to add it in the comments below. Also, while you are down there, check out my hat collection in the pin link below. Also, if you are interested in buying property, whether this be your first home or whether it be building a rental portfolio, check out this link below and join the wait list for the real estate group where you can do this with a community of people. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. Don't forget on your way out, hit that like button. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.